Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and it's been a very busy morning for me as I'm recording this at about 9:45 a.m. my time. There were phone calls to make, emails to reply to. My daughter got a kitten, and oh yeah, Tom Warren from The Verge tried to gaslight me into changing my previous video, which normally that would not be enough for me to even bother recording a video for, as I would much rather continue prepping for another game review. But after Tom Warren, a senior editor for The Verge, decided to impugn my ethics and outright claim publicly that I refused to remove false information, that is when what was passing irritation turned into something that requires action on my part. Now, be aware this video is not a game's critique. It is what many people would simply refer to as quote-unquote drama, but it is extremely important to me and my channel, as maligning my ethics and morals is extremely offensive to me. And Tom Warren of The Verge did exactly that by stating publicly, quote, "That's your choice to keep incorrect information on your YouTube video. Other YouTubers have corrected these mistakes," with a big thumbs up emoji. So as many of you are aware, last week I released a video discussing The Verge and their article written by Sean Hollister regarding Valve's new game, Deadlock. More specifically, the juvenile behavior being exhibited by Sean Hollister along with Sean's co-senior editor Tom Warren, both on social media and within the article itself. I also discussed how the pop-up window in question covered Valve from a perspective of copyright, and also I discussed the concept of implied acceptance in contract law and how, in my opinion, continuing to play the game and both write an article on the game as well as posting 24 minutes of unedited gameplay without critique or commentary constituted an implied acceptance to the scope of the pop-up window that they bypassed, as well as the gameplay posted to YouTube by Sean Hollister likely constitutes copyright infringement, as there is no way that content could fall under fair use. Well, Tom Warren apparently took exception to that and messaged me on Twitter. That is how all of the events of this morning started. Seeing that message while I was on the phone and replying to an email at the same time, so I thought, given Tom Warren has chosen to malign my character, I would take a little time to provide everyone context as to what is going on, as it appears he has also been reaching out to other YouTubers in a similar manner, and he seems to be quite frustrated with what has happened since Sean Hollister's article was published. Now, he starts by linking the video in question, which is helpful, and states, "Hey, I noticed you mentioned me in this video and sourced a fake tweet with my image in it. I did not author the article you're referencing, nor have I been banned or blacklisted by Valve. Can you please correct this and remove my name and image from the video and the video description? Thanks." Now, upon reading this, I was mildly confused. I made it explicitly clear within the video and the video description that Sean Hollister wrote the article in question, and I referenced Tom Warren merely regarding his juvenile Twitter posts regarding all of this and another person's tweeting out fake news, which I called out as being unverified and unverifiable as well as likely wrong. So I responded, "Hi Tom, I sourced a single tweet of yours that I manually pulled from your feed myself, so I know for a fact that it was not fake. Also, your statement here tells me that you did not actually watch the video. Otherwise, you would be aware that I state numerous times the author of the article was Sean Hollister, and you were contributing to the mocking of Valve on social media as another employee of The Verge," which is all true. They did do all of those things. Now, Tom replied with, "Sean Hollister, Tom Warren, and others at The Verge proceeded to ignore the NDA, is incorrect and slanderous." And upon seeing that, my brain switched gears. Slanderous means potentially legally actionable, which means this is not a friendly conversation to make sure Tom isn't unjustly maligned. This conversation has weight to it, at least from a legal perspective, so I'd best make sure to read what he messages me and formulate my responses a little bit more carefully. That is the reactive thought process I had in that moment. So I went back through Tom's feed and found the Twitter post of his that I used in my video and linked it to him. After all, it would be difficult for Tom to claim the Twitter post was fake when I can link it to him as coming from his account. Now, at that time, I also saved an offline copy of the tweet in question as, thanks to Elon Musk's locking down the Twitter API, web archives do not seem to work with Twitter any longer, at least in the vast majority of cases. I then asked him if that was indeed his post, which yes, I know I was asking a question for which I already knew the answer. To which Tom attempted to shift the conversation surrounding my using that Twitter post in my video by saying I was mocking an NDA that didn't exist. Surely you understand that, surely. Now, remember, I was operating under the belief that this was the tweet that Tom was originally referring to, and as he brought up slander, I would address his question, but I still had to prevent the conversation from rabbit trailing. So I said, surely you understand the legal concept of contract law known as implied acceptance, yes? And so for clarification, can you please specify how the tweet was fake when it is still on your feed? To which Tom sent me an image from my video referencing Judge Ray Ray's claim that The Verge and Tom Warren were blacklisted by Valve. But this was easy to counter, as again, no wrongdoing on my part. And again, if you had watched the video, I was calling out that tweet as being unverified and unverifiable information that is likely false and should be taken with a giant grain of salt. Let me quote the video for you. But instead of me quoting what I said in the video, let's go directly to the video itself and show you what I said within that video. And there are some accounts claiming, without evidence, that The Verge and Tom Warren are now blacklisted by Valve, even though Sean Hollister was the one who wrote the article and posted the YouTube video. So I would advise everyone to treat anything like this with a grain of salt unless and until there is any sort of proof of anything at all to back up such a claim. And to that, we got into a little bit of a back and forth and two-subject talking for a moment. Tom, yes, I watched that part, but it's still troubling you'd even include such obviously false information. Saying I've ignored an NDA is still incorrect and slanderous. Me, it's troubling that I called someone out for deliberately fabricating that statement. Tom, deliberately fabricating what statement? Me, and in my opinion, deliberately bypassing the intended text pop-up seeking acceptance and then continuing on to play the game is at the heart of an implied acceptance argument surrounding the actions made by Sean and the other members of The Verge that took part, which does appear to be you as well. The deliberately fabricated statement I was calling out was their claim that you had been blacklisted by Valve, which this little back and forth is extremely important here. Tom Warren, it would appear, took exception to my including a social media post that was almost certainly false, specifically so I could call it out as false to my viewers. It would seem that debunking lies is a big no-no in Tom's world. More to the point, he seemingly got so incensed at that post's mere existence that referencing it, even referencing it simply in an effort to discredit it, is slanderous misinformation in his eyes and should not be allowed to exist, which strikes me as an exceptionally foolish stance to take. Tom responded to me with, so you just assumed I've even played Deadlock, so you're making slanderous statements based on assumptions? Now there. That was the crux of the matter right there. From Sean Hollister's statements in the article, we know that multiple people at The Verge engaged with the playtest prior to the article being written. It's right there in the title. We played Valve's secret new shooter, coupled with Tom's public statements on Twitter. But is there definitive proof that Tom engaged with the playtest as that part of the process for the article's creation? No. There is no smoking gun for that. It was an inference on my part, and so I responded with, inference from your Twitter activity at that time. If that was an incorrect inference and you did not in fact take part, then I would be more than happy to modify the text of the video description. To which Tom replied with, I have nothing to do with the article. All I did was tweet my colleague's article and mock people who think an informal NDA even exists. So yes, please remove my name from your video. Which his response with, I have nothing to do with the article, in no way clarified what I was needing, especially as I need to be very careful with this, as words like slander are being tossed out by Tom Warren here. And I decided to ask directly, so you did not take part in the playtest in any way along with Sean during the playtesting phase of the article's creation? That was the question I asked, and it was a simple yes or no. If Tom's answer was no, then my inference was wrong and I would modify the video description and issue a public correction stating that it was an invalid inference. I actually already had the YouTube editor window open at the time I messaged him that. However, when I went back to see if he had responded, I saw this. You can no longer send messages to this person. Now, this was puzzling. Tom didn't block me, and at the time I am recording this, I'm still not blocked. So I went and looked up Twitter's help center on direct messaging, and while I was doing that, I also publicly sent an @ to Tom Warren stating, hey Tom, I had one final question before I make any changes to the video description that you requested, but instead of answering that question, you removed my ability to DM you. When you have the time, please reply to that last question as it will be necessary for any action on my part, which, while my suspicions surrounding all of this grew, without confirmation that anything I said was false, I wasn't going to just take Tom's word for it and go altering my video or my video's description in any way. And I was prepared to simply leave it there. But then Tom Warren decided to DM me on Discord. And if you look at our message history on Discord, it currently looks like I was unilaterally being belligerent with Tom in a one-sided beef. However, it looks like that because Tom decided to go through and delete all of his messages to me. Thankfully, I do have recordings and screenshots of what it originally looked like before his post deletions. And within that, Tom messaged me first, and I noticed that he joined my SidAlpha Discord in order to do so, where he said, "Yo, not sure why I can't reply to your DMs." Which I knew the reason why, but I wasn't going to get into it with him as that was ancillary to the primary topic in question. And that reason we'll get to in just a moment. Tom continued, "Either way, I'm not going to get into a Q&A back and forth about this. I wasn't involved in the article, so I just appreciate my name not being incorrectly involved. All I've done is tweet the article and then that joke tweet about informal NDAs." To which I asked him again, "Were you involved in the playtesting along with Sean? That's not Q&A, just specificity." And it is specificity that I would very much need. Now, at this point, I already saw the mutual servers list, so I was pretty sure I already knew the answer to my question. There's my server, yes. The one in the middle is the Discord server for Midjourney. Midjourney is an AI face camming bot that I was tampering with to mess with Rachel Messer, mapping her face onto videos with guys with beards for both hilarity and nightmare fuel, possibly also in relation to some upcoming jokes I had planned for her. And then there was the third Discord server, which is the Deadlock Playtest server. And I know from experience after my initial video that you have to get an invite from within the Deadlock game itself, and it generates a unique single-use invite code for you to use to join that Discord. So in order for Tom to be in that Discord server, he would have had to play Deadlock. The only question is, when? Tom replied by saying, "As I've said, I wasn't involved in the article at all," which in no way answered the question being asked, and I said as much to Tom, who replied by saying, "Okay, then I guess we leave it there," which puzzled me. So I left off by saying, "We leave it there with your refusing to answer a simple yes or no question, which is at the heart of your objection to the video description. Odd line in the sand to draw, but okay. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week." Which, while not captured by me before Tom deleted it, he did reply with a simple "you too" in response. And through all of this, what should have been a simple back and forth where I was willing and ready to make the change requested, as long as Tom could verify for me through a simple yes or no question that he did not take part in the playtesting phase along with Sean Hollister, then I would retract, amend, and clarify. But Tom steadfastly refused to answer the question, instead trying to answer a completely different question in the hopes that I was too stupid to be able to tell the difference, maintaining a daggered smile throughout all of it. Which then leads us back to the public discourse. I know, are you tired yet? I certainly am. So we go back to my public @ of him, which Twitter removed the @ link there, which is telling, and we'll get to that as it is prevalent. And to that, Tom continued with his daggered smile by saying, "I couldn't reply to your DM, but all good, thanks for hearing me out." Now bear in mind that Tom posted that within minutes of his deleting his Discord messages to me. And I wasn't about to play this little game of honeyed words with Tom any longer, so I replied, "It's regretful you refused to answer a simple yes or no question without trying to deflect, but I'm glad you at least got back to me via Discord DM. I'm always willing to hear anyone out, but given your deflective responses, I don't think I'll be able to accede to your request." Which leads us to the post that started all of this, which was Tom replying with, "No worries, that's your choice to keep incorrect information on your YouTube video. Other YouTubers have corrected these mistakes." To which I replied with, "Thing is, I do not believe it to be incorrect at all. And you refused to answer a simple yes or no question that would provide the clarification needed. Other YouTubers may not look at such things as critically as I do, but their acceding to your request does not immediately make it a mistake on their part or mine. I also noticed you deleted the messages you sent on Discord. Curious as to why you would do that. In addition, I suspect you might have reported my account, which would explain the block on further DMs without an actual account block." Which, the account block and account reporting. Let's actually delve into that. Now, earlier in the video, I said I was looking through Twitter's support page in relation to this, where I could no longer message Tom, and via Discord, he claimed he could no longer message me. And from the Twitter Help Center, there are 2 topics that cover this exact thing, and both of them include reporting the account in question, namely my account getting reported by Tom. Now, some people will say, maybe he just changed his security settings and didn't realize, so now no one can message him without a mutual follow. Well, that would not apply to existing conversations, first off. Secondly, I had a reply comment from Sabered Gaming stating, "Looks like his DMs are still open for me, surprising. Can I assist in any way?" And Tom Warren does not follow Sabered Gaming, so if the security settings were changed, then Sabered would not have been able to see Tom's DMs as being open. That little envelope just wouldn't show up. So we have Tom Warren, senior editor of The Verge, gaslighting YouTubers. Remember, he said that other YouTubers were changing their content, which means that he is reaching out to anyone and everyone who mentions him, it would seem, trying to get them to not include any mention of his name anywhere involving his public posts surrounding Deadlock or his involvement in any way with the playtesting of Deadlock in preparation for the article written by Sean Hollister. Tom Warren refuses to answer direct questions to clarify, instead choosing to answer a completely different question, hoping people wouldn't notice. Hates the blacklist post by what's-their-name so much that even debunking that unverified and unverifiable claim is slanderous by Tom Warren's own words, and then smiles right to my face while he impugns my ethics, deleting conversational history where possible, and most likely reported my account to Twitter, something I wouldn't even receive a notification on, where the potential outcome of that would be a deletion of my social media account. And engaging in deflection all the while, all from behind a fake smile and faux gratitude. So I said all of that to say this. If you want that content changed or removed, Tom, either answer the question or sue me. Those are the only ways in which that will happen. But don't pretend like you get to sit there with some sort of moral high ground after your behavior today. It is as repugnant as a dirty dev, and I will not stand for it silently. So that has been Tom Warren, senior editor of The Verge, ladies and gentlemen. Get fucked. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. I'll see you next time.